One of the things that I don't think is articulated enough is how much we help people and how we're helping generation of people move forward and helping change lives.
How can a set of skills lead you down the path to success? That's what we're setting out to answer on the EdUp Canada podcast. I'm your host, Michael Sangster. Join me as we unpack how leaders around the world have taken training and skills and turned that into a lasting career. Now let's learn together. Welcome back to the EdUp Canada podcast. I'm Michael Sangster, your host, and I am joined by a friend of mine. Interesting guy I've had a chance to get to know over the last couple of years working at NAC, Sterling Simpson. And I want to have him on because while his job is Vice President of BD for Enrollment Resources, one of our partners and sponsors and works with a lot of our colleges, he's unique. But as a supplier, he sits on the board of our British Columbia Association and offers advice, and I've seen him live in action. It's not about offering advice for people to come work with you, is it, Sterling? It's more about the sector and how they can improve things. But I've noticed you when we were in BC recently. It's how you can collaborate, isn't it? Why don't you give us an answer to that and then just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, the whole point of me being on the board was to give a vendor's perspective to the board on how to do a better job of getting other vendors and giving vendors value so they want to jump in and work with us. And so that's really the reason I was brought on board. And what I continue to do is help them try to see that value so we're able to bring in more overall revenue and make the vendors happy so they continue to come back.
Tell us about you. What's your story? How long have you been in the sector?
So my story actually starts I was working for a company that was purchased by Amazon, and I was head of search for that company. And so I became an Amazon employee and ran paid search, SEO, and conversion optimization for that subsidiary for 3 years. And then I had my own company called Sterling Marketing Consultants, where I was doing consulting for businesses. And one of my clients was Enrollment Resources, who I was helping manage Google Ads for. And so over time, they decided to make me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I came on full time with them. And I've been there since 2012. So I was someone who managed Google Ads, ran paid search, and then I got into admissions coaching and training because I have an extensive sales experience going back to actually my teenage years. And so once I came on board doing all of that, as a natural progression, moving up into business development so I could help people better and get more involved and articulate what we do to potential clients.
Are you working pretty exclusively in the regulated career college sector?
Yes, that's where our main focus is, and like 95% of our clients are within that sector, yeah.
And a big part of your role is helping students find the right path to find a college that is the right one for them to retrain, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It's not about getting leads or just, that's one of the terms I hate is people just want leads. It's about quality. It's about getting people who are engaged and want next steps and giving them a better experience, because you are able to give them a better experience the more you learn, the better quality of the contact you bring in.
So you deal a lot with building those systems that help students find the right programs for them, the right college for them, the right opportunity for them. What's your gut reaction about the sector? There's been a lot of noise. You've worked really closely in it, but didn't come from it. There's been a lot of noise over the last couple of years about the career college sector in Canada. I'm interested as someone who works with them. What do you think about our sector and our members and what we do?
I think our sector is great. One of the things that I don't think is articulated enough is how much we help people and how we're helping generation of people move forward and helping change lives. And the general public, I don't think it's articulated enough. And being able to help people understand this is a big part of why I'm a part of CCCA. And it's not just about schools, but the overall getting everyone to understand and potential students the value. Especially lately, there's way more value in career education. It's got way more of a turnaround. It helps people who might not have capacity to do a 4-year institution to get a change quick enough. They might have people to support. And so it's something that I feel really passionate about, especially coming from another industry and learning so much. I always just say I used to work selling books. because I worked for a company that sold books as purchased by Amazon. They worked for Amazon back when they actually were a book company.
You're basically just like Jeff Bezos then. You started
Yeah,
the
pretty
same
much
thing,
like Jeff
just
Bezos.
selling books, right?
I went from books to education. So I always felt good about that. I'm going from always books to book learning. So something that I've always been really passionate about is putting your efforts into something that you feel like you're making a difference. And even though I was working at a bookstore, I still felt like I was making a difference because more people need to read. And I always love being a part of that.
You guys have done a really good job at BCCCA, British Columbia Career College Association. You guys have done at a really, really good job in the last year of getting a lot more people engaged and a lot more people involved. We had a couple of great events in Victoria and Vancouver recently. It was great to see all those members coming out and new members and small little colleges coming out. And it's what I love about this sector. We went out to, I think it's Souk. We kept chuckling about the way it was pronounced, but a little college that doesn't have more than 20 students a year teaching not environmental, but ecological tourism programs and how to train. You're not going to get that in a massive university or community college, someone teaching 20, 30 students a year.
No, exactly. And you're not going to find that same passion too, because the people who are teaching it are so passionate. It's a career that they have gone so deep into and they love. And especially like that program, it's the type of thing that you sort of lose sometimes at the four-year institutions or when you're in a bigger setting where you have a school like that. Not only you're working with the people who run the school, who built the school generally, but there's that passion just shows through the whole thing. So yeah, those are type of schools, like there's so many of them, those schools that they need that little extra help. They might not have the same staff to be on top of regulations or be on top of training. And that's where when they become a member, we're able to provide all that extra help, provide the resources to help them even get to the next level sometimes. So that's another thing I'm really passionate about, those little cool schools like that.
Well, and then there was another one. We went to, and I'm pulling a blank on the name of the gentleman, but we went to his acting school in Vancouver, for lack of a better word. But there was a recording studio and there was a TV studio, and he started walking through the numbers of the film recording and TV industry in Vancouver and British Columbia, and the economic impact of the 100 students he has a year that go through that community, and just how much money gets spent in British Columbia in the movie sector too. And I had no idea the value of that industry.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the thing I love about our industry too is it's very trackable. Like people usually get into their career quite quickly compared to other education. So right away you have proof of concept and you have people right away that your lives are changing within like a year of training. They're already into the new profession. They're already doing great. And then like a school like that, it's even better because, you see them on TV. You see these people actually like on IMDb now, they have a page with all that stuff. Like that's awesome. That's the type of stuff that I have a few friends who've done stuff like that. And it's just so cool to see.
You've genuinely, I can see you, our listeners can, you've genuinely become quite passionate about this sector and the way, that's why you're giving your own time, but you really do enjoy working around these colleges and you might be in a Sprott Shaw or a Discovery College in British Columbia. They're quite large, thousands of students a year down to one with 50 or 100 students a year. And it is kind of fun, isn't it?
The thing that I find that is probably, I feel like you're making the most difference is when you have people who's like the first person in their generation to get education, to take that step forward. And you see that a lot. The people who normally just wouldn't have that pathway or have the ability to go for a more traditional route, able to find a great career and going into it, knowing what you're going to have coming out of it is amazing. I got a business degree at UVic, University of Victoria, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I have friends who graduated the same degree as me who were working at Future Shop, now Best Buy. So you never know, right? I just got lucky and got into a great organization early. But yeah, knowing going in what the outcome will be and knowing like the schools that are regulated that we work with, they have to maintain great outcome rates. So you know those in advance. Everything is reported. So you could go into it making a very informed decision. Like this is the right career because this is how good they do. They're held to a standard, quite honestly, that traditional education isn't held to. And you feel way more confident enrolling in that you're going to have a career after and it's going to, be a true step forward.
I'm really glad you touched on that because the average person would not have any clue the level of regulation that our colleges are under, that we don't fight, we embrace it. But there's a couple of things that I always find very interesting. One, in most provinces, you can't start a program until you prove there's a job need. So you can't put a student in that classroom unless you know there's going to be a job available to them, whether or not they get it or not, but you at least know there's a job requirement. Two, In most provinces, we have to keep attendance and not, now that it's online learning, actually keep video records of those students to prove they were in the class and paying attention, which is quite interesting when you go back and do audits and you can look at those things, which we do on some of our programs. But also the publication of job statistics, which is a challenge now for many of our institutions, and the government's tracking because nobody answers their phone anymore. And, as we all, none of us want to answer the phone if you don't know who it is anymore. But these are things that get tracked and monitored and reported on and drive the way programs are built and run, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. The extra level of accountability leads to, in my opinion, this higher quality outcomes in education. I'm not sure if this stat is still true, as a few years old, but in North America, the on-time completion rate for community colleges is 26%. And so much public money goes there, and it's always it's sort of held in higher esteem. But quite honestly, the success rate is so low comparative to in career colleges where the success rate is 3 times that often or more. And so, yeah, it's just surprising to me that the perception of community colleges and that it seems unbalanced to me.
Let's take a break for a second. I want to tell you about one of our partners, Points for School. You can use your mileage points to pay for tuition. No more trips and toasters for mom and dad. Why not use those points for tuition? Check out Points for School on the NAC website and see if it's something that would be good for you or your institution. We always say there is a role for universities, there's a role for community colleges, there's a role for the regulated career college sector, but we've all got to figure out our pathways to work together. Some provinces have figured it out. I often talk about Newfoundland where there's laddering between institutions. We got to do more of that. We've got to take a healthcare aid in British Columbia and give them more pathways to nursing, and every province do more of those things. I know in Ontario, we're trying to do more with PSW to nursing, public personal support workers. So somebody can go in and do that who starts studying at age 32 and has a family, and then 4 or 5 years later has righted their financial ship. They're in a good place, and they go back to the nursing program now starting in year 2. That's fantastic. Why don't we? We have such massive workflow shortages that we need to deal with those things. So it's nice to hear you comment on the quality piece of it because you see it from the outside. Talk to me a little bit. I should give you a chance. Talk to me about Enrollment Resources, the main things that you guys do on a daily basis.
Yeah, so Enrollment Resources actually has been around since 2004. So we've been around for over 21 years. And we specialize in helping schools optimize their enrollments. So we do help schools with their websites and improve conversion, which is really the focus of what we do. It's conversion optimization to get the more people who are showing up to a website to actually communicate with the school. But what it comes down to is in the back end, making sure that we optimize enrollments. So we help schools set up a platform that optimizes the website to get more people coming through, and it enriches the quality of lead by collecting extra information. And then when they go into your admissions funnel, we know more about the student and their higher qualities, so we could have a better chance of enrolling them. And then the platform provides full reporting on enrollment, and we are able to take the data from students coming through it and build profiles that we just launched a content studio in the new version of our virtual advisor coming out right now. And the content studio allows us to create a high quality content based off of the actual student profiles by program or by location or by outcome even. You can focus just on enrollees, have a profile for that. So yeah, it's like an intelligence platform where the front end of it allows the school to get more leads and higher quality leads. And the back end of it is we're taking that data and crunching it and making it actionable to improve your marketing and your admissions. So yeah, it's a lot to say. We don't really have an elevator pitch because it's so involved. But at the end of the day, the focus is on quality.
And what gets lost, it's not about, as you said earlier, it's not about lead generation. It's about driving students to get the best outcomes so that they get employed. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in a college and watched an admissions process where they're guiding a student away from a program that's not a good fit for them. They're making sure they spend that extra bit of time with them going, well, wait a second. I believe you might be better suited here. Let's take a look at this good program before you dive into the other one.
That's exactly it. Yeah. The more you know about a student and the better you could fit them and match them. And it's not about the sale. And that's the big thing that when I've trained hundreds of admissions teams in my last 13 years here. And it's not about the sale. It's about the fit. Because at the end of the day, if you sell someone a program that's not right for them, they're not going to complete. You're going to have retention issues. But if you fit them to the right program, you'll have a happier person, you'll have met someone's needs, and you'll have retention. And then at the end of the day, they'll even get hired too, because they'll be in the right place for their passion. So I find that is a really important element, is the match. It's not just a sell. And that's sort of how I like to train people, is focusing on just giving the right information and helping them make the best decision possible. And if it's not your school, be honest, but most of the time it should be your school, because they inquired with you and you know so much about them. You could customize that experience for them.
So we ask everybody a couple of questions, because this is about education. It's about opportunities, and we've all had good luck in our life. So tell me a little bit about Sterling and a mentor in your life that has an impact on you. I've watched you actually help people and mentor them around some of the events we've done and some of the time we've spent just in conversation. So talk to me about somebody who helped you on that path.
I'll give you two mentors. It was the two owners here at Enrollment Resources. So when I first started, it was Greg Meiklejohn and Shane Sparks. Two of them were with me from, I believe I was just 30 when I started. Young kid, a lot of experience as a superstar with Google Ads, and I won some awards. So I came in with a pretty big ego for a young kid. And just working with them. And the first thing I could remember is how we focus on quality. We have a process called the Enrollment Management Scorecard. It's a process we have to diagnose a school, looking at the qualitative and quantitative elements, going through admissions and marketing, typing in numbers, and then do a qualitative report, and then provide sort of like hooking up your car to diagnostic, tells you what needs to be improved and how. And so I was taught that right away. And that's how I got a lot of my industry knowledge, was I was giving people scorecards and learning about schools, learning about how to improve things. And yeah, they just gave me like a amazing education on the industry, because I came in knowing the marketing side, but they educated me on the industry, going to conferences, watching them talk. Then I was starting to do my own talks. And I used to have the biggest fear of public speaking. I'd shake and uncontrollably. And so then put into do a talk once I expressed that once. So I started doing talks, and I just got over that fear. And then now I love talks. As you can see, it's almost hard to get me to stop talking. So
We've noticed.
yeah.
No, you're very comfortable for people. Those are great ones. So then we circle back and we ask this next question, because I believe every person who's successful either has a skill or develops a skill, but it's never the same. Well, sometimes it's the same skill, but it's rarely the same skill. What has made you successful, and did you develop it? Maybe it was public speaking, as you talked about, but you had to develop.
Well, public speaking, it was probably the skill that I have improved the most at. I have no fear. I actually love talking in front of groups of people. But the skill that I think has helped me the most is just my analytical brain. I view everything in a very numbers, analytical, logical way. And I am able to look at a situation and not have my emotions really affect it. I've actually taken some tests that have shown I have that ability to like not have.
I'm sure they tested you a lot over the years, Sterling.
Yeah.
I told you he'd become a friend. We can have a little joking here.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that my just an analytical approach where I could just separate myself or the subject matter from the data and really dig into data.
I asked that question on purpose, because when I go to colleges and I speak at graduations and I speak to students, I always tell them, embrace your strengths too. Improve your weaknesses, but don't be afraid to. If you've got a strength, use it, embrace it. Analytical is a great one. Like there's things that I can walk into a room. I've said it often and start talking to people. I've always had that, never had that problem since I was very, very young. And it's been a strength that I've used to my advantage over the years. So I always appreciate, find those skills, find those things. I'm going to go on a limb here. I didn't ask you about this, but a moment in a school, do you have one that you remember, or an interaction with a student or something in one of these colleges that just kind of makes your head pop, or it just a college that they were doing something different that you went, wow, I could give you one. Kean College out in Newfoundland. They built a healthcare assistant program for hospitals, and they built it so that everyone did their practicum in the summer, because they were trying to build more capacity into the hospitals and the healthcare sector in Newfoundland and Labrador so the employees could get a break when the weather was nicer.
Oh, wow.
I thought, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have you heard of something or that makes you kind of go, wow, or a student or something?
Well, I've actually, I visited a school in Vancouver once as a client of ours, and they're a culinary school. When you walk in, the first thing they have is a wall of everyone who's been on some sort of cooking show. Right there, and just tons of them. And it's this person was on, Top Chef, or this person is on Chopped, or, all those different Food Network competition shows. And then they do their own competition. And as I was walking around the school, they're showing the room they have and they do their own ones. And just like that immersiveness, like not only you gain an education and not only, a lot of people are successful and they have this amazing wall, these people are successful, but they're actually taking them into this really amazing fun thing that's, I don't know, it just seems like something that they don't have to do, sort of next level, having the ability to do this internally. And they showed me where they do the competitions. It's a really cool room. They have it split up so they could have them do it. And I really love the interactiveness. I've also seen other schools that have similar programs. I was at a school once where they had programs for CGI, and it's all around doing CGI for movies and building all the different like graphics for movies. And the campus was just amazingly set out. It was almost like an arcade in there. It was really cool. And just this feel, the campus was fun. It just has more of a culture, I felt like, than a business to me. And that's the thing that I love about going to career colleges, regulated colleges, is that a lot of them have amazing cultures behind them that you sometimes lose again in some bigger institutions.
And what also gets lost is how many employers are in the hallways looking for hiring and are involved in the practicums or are helping teach the programs. They've sent their own subject matter experts in to teach welding or to teach a program, knowing they want to be around those 12 students in that class because they want to hire 6 of them because they got a problem in their workforce. So it's fun to watch that too. And I was just thinking about my board chair, Vic from Sprott Shaw College. Every one of their campuses, and I've seen this at different campuses in different companies, but that bell on the wall. And every time someone graduates, they ring the bell. And I've seen another one where they come back and every time they get a job, they come back and ring the bell. And that's kind of cool. You're not going to get that in a massive institution, but one with 1,000 students is still doing that, which I think is really neat because they're celebrating them.
That's something that you don't get at the larger institutions, is someone who actually follows you after. They want to see your outcomes and they're supporting you after you graduate into your new career. And often, they'll be right there with you, wanting to interview or talk to you after, because it's something that we have to focus on. This whole industry focuses on way more than the other ones, and it shows at the end of the day.
Before we sign off, anything you want to say, Sterling?
Well, I wanted to thank you very much for allowing me on here and the great stuff that you guys are doing, because it really helps, especially with regard to regulation and just keeping people informed and getting us together. Like, we're a lot stronger together. So the more schools we could get together, the more we could talk to people, show people the great stuff we're doing, get in front of regulators or the government and show them the amazing stuff we're doing so we get the right support there. You guys have been doing an amazing job at it, and I thank you very much for it.
Oh, appreciate that a lot, but it's fun. We get paid to do it. I love this sector. But it's guys like you and all the volunteers who put their backs into it. That's funny you say that. That was our slogan for our conference last year with Career Colleges Ontario. It was Stronger Together. We hosted a joint event. It's one of the best I'm sure we've ever had. And I was going to quote Donald Trump, the greatest conference ever held, never been bigger, largest crowds ever. It was a great event because everyone said, let's get in a room together and share stories and share ideas. And that's what I love about this sector. So with that, we'll sign off for this week's edition of the EdUp Canada podcast. And I thank you, Sterling, for joining us today. And again, I thank you for your time and effort working with BCCCA, but also with NAC. It's greatly appreciated. Say hi to everybody over there at Enrollment Resources for us. Thanks for listening to another episode of the EdUp Canada podcast. We release new episodes regularly. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when they are officially out. If you love this episode, please leave a 4- or 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts so that others can also discover how a set of skills can lead to success. Thanks for learning with us.